Fox News alert, Iran's closed for business. 2 straight days and 0 ships have gone in and out of their ports. They're strangled. They can't buy or sell anything. And Trump's trying to put his name on their stuff.
You can call it the Strait of Hormuz or the Hormuz Strait. I said, which is better? They said, either is okay, but you can call it either one. The only thing you can't call it is the Trump Strait. They don't like that idea.
Whether the Iranians like it or not, it's our water. Our guided missile destroyers are parked right off their coast, and they haven't done a thing about it. Not a missile, not a rocket, not even a peep from the Mosquito fleet. 10 tankers with Iranian oil tried to bust out, and we turned around all 10. Any ship that gets close, here's this, listen.
The U.S. has announced a formal blockade of Iranian ports and coastal areas. This is illegal action. All vessels are advised to immediately return to port if leaving and discontinue transit to Iran if that is your next port of call. Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure transiting to or from an Iranian port. Turn around and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance. Now.
Soon we'll have 3 carriers in the Gulf, the Lincoln, Ford, and Bush. The Lincoln has 5,000 sailors and Marines on board, executing the blockade from the Arabian Sea. The Ford's in the eastern Mediterranean, and the Bush is screaming up the Horn of Africa with 6,000 men ready for anything. In a week or so, we'll have the USS Boxer, an amphibious assault ship. The Marines on board are conducting chemical, radiological, and nuclear threat training, just in case. The USS Tripoli is also pulling blockade duty. Here are the boys conducting on-board close-quarters training. These are the guys that rappel down from choppers and seize a ship's captain if a vessel with Iranian cargo doesn't follow orders. The Navy's loving the blockade. You know who else is? Morning Joe. He's hearing the same things we are.
They are actually very positive about the blockade. They believe the dynamics have changed radically and that Iran went from having time on their side to Iran now understanding they are going to have to eventually come to a deal. They're degraded radically when it comes to their military operations, and now they're really starting to feel the heat economically if the United States, they say, will continue the blockade.
Iran's on the brink of bankruptcy. They're bleeding over $400 million a day. According to my math, that's $1.3 billion vaporized since Monday. And in less than 2 weeks, they'll have to cap their oil wells. Once the money dries up, their military will miss paychecks, and that could get ugly. On top of the naval blockade, Treasury's unleashing Operation Economic Fury. We're going to bomb their bank accounts. Iran attacked their Arab neighbors, and now it's payback.
We have pushed out to them the request that we want to freeze more funds of the leadership of the IRGC and any members of Iranian leadership. We have told countries that if you are buying Iranian oil, that if Iranian money is sitting in your banks, we are now willing to apply secondary sanctions, which is a very stern measure. And the Iranians should know that this is going to be the financial equivalent of what we saw in the kinetic activities.
The regime's cooked. The commander-in-chief says we're deep into the 4th quarter, basically, and we're about this close to the mercy rule being called.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
The Iranians want round 2 of peace talks. And the Chinese are begging him to go back to Pakistan because now Beijing starting to feel the heat.
2 Chinese banks received letters from the U.S. Treasury. I'm not going to identify the banks, but we told them that if we can prove that there is Iranian money flowing through your accounts, then we are willing to put on secondary sanctions.
Xi Jinping got a bit prickly about the embargo. Now wants the whole war over. He sent a letter to Trump, a love letter.
He's somebody that needs oil. We don't. He's somebody I get along with very well. He just wrote me a beautiful letter.
He wrote you a letter?
Yeah, he did. He responded to a letter that I wrote because I had heard that China is giving weapons to, I mean, you're seeing it all over the place, to Iran, that China's
Did he
giving
say he's
weapons.
giving them?
Yeah, and I wrote him a letter asking him not to do that. And he wrote me a letter saying that essentially he's not doing that.
Trump says the Chinese are actually happy that we're opening up the strait, saying this: Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. Beijing can't buy any more cheap sanctioned Iranian oil, and now every Chinese trade route to the west is controlled by the U.S. Navy. But the Chi-Coms are welcome to buy American, and they already are. The U.S. oil market is open for business, and it is booming. Big oil just had its biggest payday in history. The United States just hit an all-time high all week, exporting 5 million barrels a day. Over 100 tankers are lining up off the Gulf of America to get their frantic little hands on our sweet, sweet crude. And it's not just crude. We're shipping everything from gas, jet fuel, diesel at record levels. And we're getting over 1 million barrels a day from our new amigos in Venezuela. Oil futures for June just dropped into the 80s. Prices at the pump are down from last week's highs and still falling.
If you told me that we were going to be at only $92 a barrel, I would have been very surprised. Gasoline's coming down very soon and very big.
So you think gas prices will be lower before the midterm elections?
I think they'll be much lower before midterm, much lower.
After 6 weeks of the war, gas is still cheaper than it was under Biden. And the S&P and NASDAQ just hit all-time highs. That's right, the stock market is at all-time highs. All the losses from the war erased, and we're back at it. It's been one of the best 10-day runs in market history. And hats off to the War Department. We wiped out the Ayatollah and his whole military in 6 weeks. And Iran can't trade with anybody except themselves. We lost more aircraft during training drills last year than we did during this entire war. We were told this was a quagmire. There was no strategy. They even told us Iran was winning. Now, I don't know how you win a war without an Air Force, Navy, or money. It's probably wishful thinking. On top of that, China and Russia haven't done a single thing to stop us, not a single thing, in Venezuela or Iran. Our enemies got exposed, and our allies, well, we know who our true allies really are.
Did you see Europe is now drafting a program and plan to open up the Hormuz Strait without the United States?
It's so sad. We're doing it now. By the way, it's opening. The ships are coming back and forth. Oh, without the United States. It just shows you, how can you have a country, how can you have a group of countries with that attitude? Look at Greenland. We should have Greenland to protect the world against Russia and China. This country should not be paying trillions of dollars to NATO.
And this just in, sources tell USA Today that the Pentagon is planning a decisive operation to force the communists to capitulate in Cuba. So it looks like Trump's going for the hat trick. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.